A very good afternoon. This is Avinindra Som and you're listening to the news in detail on Gold FM.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
In your news headlines, fuel distribution to continue as normal over weekend. President addresses the parliament. IMF in Sri Lanka next week. Netanyahu to hold off attacks on Iranian gas fields after Trump call. Trump compares attack on Iran to Pearl Harbor in meeting with Japanese PM.
The top story on Gold FM.
The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation confirmed that fuel distribution proceeds as normal through the weekend. Managing Director Myron Nethikumara stated that an earlier plan to suspend deliveries changed due to the scheduled updates of the QR code system as of midnight tomorrow. Under the current rationing scheme, stations currently issue fuel only to vehicles with even-numbered license plates. Correspondents report a noticeable decrease in queues across many areas today. To manage national reserves, the government recently introduced a specific fuel quota for different vehicle categories, alongside the plate-based entry system which began yesterday. Distribution from the Kolonava storage terminal to local stations continued throughout the morning to maintain steady supplies.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
President Anura Kumara Dissanayake informed Parliament today that the government implemented several measures to manage fuel and energy supplies. Speaking during a special statement on the international and domestic situation, the President addressed the impact of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. He emphasized that these steps remain necessary to ensure national energy security as global tensions fluctuate. An event informed the Parliament that a series of fuel shipments are set to arrive throughout April to stabilize the national supply. In the interest of clarity, we left his remarks undubbed.
ෆුජේරා කියන වරායෙන් තමයි අපිට බොරතෙල් ක්‍රූඩ් ඔයිල් ඒමට නියමිත තිබුණේ. මේ මාර්තු මාසයේ 24 25 මෙට්‍රික් ටොන් 90000ක නැවක් එන්න තිබුණා. නමුත් ඔබ දන්නා ෆුජේරා වරායට සිදු විපත. ඔවුන් මේක දින පත්සර දාලා තියෙනවා. ඊළඟ අපිට තව සිංගල් ටෙන්ඩර් එකක් තිබුණා. එතනත් මෙට්‍රික් ටොන් 90000ක් තිබුණා. ඒකත් අපිට එන්න තිබුණේ ෆුජේරා වලින්. ඒකත් අපිට ලැබෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඉන්දියානු සමාගම් සහ සිංගප්පූරු සමාගම් අතර ඇක්ටිවිටි එකකතාවයන්ගේ ඒ ගිවිසුම් ප්‍රකාරව අපිට ඉන්ධන නැව් වෙනවා. බොරතෙල් නැව් ටික නොලැබීම තමයි අපිට ප්‍රශ්නේ මතුවෙන්න පුළුවන් තැන ටික. මෙතන අර්බුදයක් මතුවේ හැකි කියලා අපි ටෙන්ඩර් එකක් කෝල් කරා. ඒ ටෙන්ඩර් අපි මේ 17 වෙනිදා විවෘත කරා. ඒකදී අපි බැලුවා මොකද්ද? අපිට අර්බුද මතුවෙන්නේ බොරතෙල් නම්. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපේ පිරිපාදයෙන් අපේ තෙල් අවශ්‍යතාවයෙන් 35% නිෂ්පාදනය කරනවා. එහෙමනම් අපිට බොරතෙල් සපයා ගන්න එම කලාපෙන් අපි අසීරු නම් අපි කොහොමද කරනද පිරිසිදු කරනද තෙල් ආනයනය කරගන්නේ? ඒ නිසා අපි පස්වෙනිදා ටෙන්ඩර් එකක් කෝල් කරා. ඩීසල්, පෙට්‍රල්, දැවිතෙල්, ජෙට් A1 සහ බොරතෙල් නැව් දෙකකට අපිට දෙකක් කැන්සල් වෙලා තිබුණා. ඒ ටෙන්ඩර් අපි 17 වෙනිදා විවෘත කරා. 17 වෙනිදා විවෘත කරපුවාම අපිට ඩීසල් නැවක් අපි ටෙන්ඩරේ ප්‍රදානය කරා 6-7 එනවා. ඊට පස්සේ පෙට්‍රල් එකක් අපි ප්‍රදානය කරා 16-17 එනවා අප්‍රේල්. දැවිතෙල් එකක් අපි ප්‍රදානය කරා 12-13 එනවා අප්‍රේල්. ජෙට් A1 එකක් ප්‍රදානය කරා 10-11 එනවා අප්‍රේල්. බොරතෙල් වලට අපි එක ටෙන්ඩරයක් දෙන්න අප්‍රේල් වලට දෙන්න කියලා දෙවෙනි ටෙන්ඩරේ තමයි ජුනි වලට දෙන්න කියලා. අප්‍රේල් වලට දෙන්න කියලා කවුරුත් ඉල්ලුවේ නැහැ. අප්‍රේල් වලට බොරතෙල් සපයන්න පුළුවන් කියලා කිසිදු සමාගමක් ඒ ටෙන්ඩරේට ඉදිරිපත් වුණේ නැහැ. හැබැයි අපිට එක සමාගමක් ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙනවා ජුනි මාසයේ බොරතෙල් නැවක් ඕන්ට ලබා දෙන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. අපි ඒක ප්‍රදානය කරා. ඩීසල්, පෙට්‍රල්, දැවිතෙල්, ජෙට් A1 මේ ඔක්කොම අපි ප්‍රදානය කරා. ටෙන්ඩරේම දිගුවක් හැටියට 18 වෙනිදාත් අපි නැවත ඩීසල් ඒකට ප්‍රදානය කරා. දැන්ට සාකච්ඡා කරමින් යනවා. ඒක අපිට ලබා දෙන්න එකඟතාවය පළ කරලා තිබෙනවා අප්‍රේල් මාසයේ 8-7 වගේ. ඒතර අපි බලන්නේ බොරතෙල් පිරිපාදුවෙන් අපිට අවශ්‍යතාවයන් සපුරා ගන්න බැරි නම් අපි කරන්නේ පිරිපාදු කරන ලද තෙල් ආනයනය කිරීම තමයි අපේ ප්‍රමුඛතාවය බවට පත් කරගන්නේ. ඒ ප්‍රමුඛතාවය අනුව කටයුතු කරමින් තිබෙනවා. අර ශක්ති සැපයීමෙන් අපිට බොරතෙල් නැව් 2.90 ඊට අමතරව අපිට පෙට්‍රල් හා ඩීසල් පෙට්‍රල් නැවක් එන්න තිබුණා 7-8 ඒක කල් දාලා තිබුණා. ඊළඟ අපිට ප්‍රයිවට් පුද්ගලික සමාගමේ ගේන් එකක් තිබුණා 7-8 පෙට්‍රල් සහ ඩීසල් එකතු වෙච්ච නැවක් මෙට්‍රික් ටොන් 35000ක ඒ ටික කැපස්සට ගියා.
Deputy Minister of Finance and Planning Anil Jayantha Fernando in the meantime stated in Parliament today that a fuel price increase of approximately 8% remains necessary to minimize the impact on national inflation. This announcement came during an adjournment debate regarding the current global situation. Now, in such a backdrop, the renewable energy front warned that a global war crisis necessitates imminent power cuts across the island. Speaking in Colombo, energy expert Professor Ajit Veerasinghe stated that any disruption to the electricity supply threatens both the national economy and industrial production. Meanwhile, energy specialist Dr. Vidura Ralapanava told Hiru News that pure quality coal prevents the Norachele plant from reaching full capacity. This failure forces a shift towards diesel power generation, which directly worsens the fuel crisis and increases the likelihood of both power outages and high electricity bills. An International Monetary Fund delegation is set to visit Sri Lanka next week to conduct crucial policy discussions from the 26th of March until the 9th of April. Communications Director Julie Kosak confirmed the visit aims to complete a combined 5th and 6th review of the nation's extended fund facility. Success in these talks grants the island approximately $347 million in vital financing once the executive board grants final approval. Sri Lankan Airlines and the government of Sri Lanka finalized a landmark international bond restructuring yesterday with over 99% participation from creditors. The deal involves a 16% haircut on outstanding claims and the issuance of new 4% amortizing bonds due in 2028. This successful exchange of the $175 million guaranteed bonds marks a critical milestone in the national carrier's financial recovery and the country's broader debt management strategy. Now, as the ripples of the West Asia conflict reach the Indian Ocean, Sri Lanka finds itself at a critical crossroad of maritime security and economic resilience. Speaking at the Power Pulse Summit, High Commissioner to India Maheshini Kolonne explains how the country is managing these external shocks.
So where the ship was concerned, it was sunk off the coast of Sri Lanka in international waters, and Sri Lanka did what it had to do according to the laws of the sea as well as laws of war, which we abide by. So when there was a distress call, the Navy and the Air Force were mobilized and we rescued the survivors. And we managed to also salvage human remains, which have since been repatriated. So that's what we did. We did what we had to do because although it sank in international waters, this was in Sri Lanka's search and rescue region. Where the war is concerned, what is actually far more concerning for us is what's happening in West Asia now and the Strait of Hormuz, and what the instability that is causing in terms of energy, in terms of the fuel prices going up, in terms of Sri Lankan workers in the region, and so on, and in the impact on the economy.
The ambassador went on to highlight the importance of following the rule-based order for countries like Sri Lanka.
For countries like Sri Lanka, the rules-based order is very important. And when the rules-based order is challenged, then obviously we have to find our way. We have to be pragmatic. We don't have the luxury of excluding countries. All our partnerships are equally important to us. And so you mentioned about minute to minute. We just don't know what the next moment holds. So we work very closely with all our partners, including India, especially India. And yes, we do have to keep strategizing from moment to moment.
Now for some news in brief.
Sri Lanka Banks Association announced that all commercial banks will operate on weekdays with reduced hours from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Wednesdays under a temporary energy conservation measure, while normal hours apply on other days.
The business news on Gold FM.
Brent crude futures fell 1.6% to $107 a barrel following international efforts to secure the Strait of Hormuz. West Texas Intermediate also fell to $94.06 a barrel.
International news on Gold FM.
Gulf nations, including the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain, report overnight drone and missile attacks from Iran. A major strike hit Kuwait's Mina Al Ahmadi oil refinery, forcing several units to shut down as emergency crews battle resulting fires. While global oil and gas prices stabilized today following US and Israeli assurances against further strikes on Iranian gas fields, long-term supply fears persist. Qatar's energy minister warned that repairing the damaged Ras Laffan liquefied natural gas complex could take 5 years, potentially cutting the country's exports by nearly a fifth. Now, in the meantime, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel acted alone in attacking an Iranian gas field as tensions mount over strikes on energy infrastructure across the region. Israel hit Iran's South Pars, part of the world's largest natural gas field, and Tehran retaliated by striking an energy complex in Qatar and attacking other energy targets in the Gulf. The attacks led to a spike in energy prices, and US President Donald Trump later posted he had not known about them in advance. Speaking to the media, this is what Netanyahu had to say about the allegations.
Does anyone really think that someone can tell President Trump what to do? Come on. President Trump always makes his decisions on what he thinks is good for America, and may I add, I think what is also good for future generations. In this case, those interests are absolutely clear, and so is the clarity of our achievements.
He also outlined Israel's goals in the conflict.
Our goals are three. One, removing the nuclear threat. Second, removing the ballistic missile threat. And removing both of these threats before they're buried deep underground and become immune from aerial attack. And third, this means creating the conditions for the Iranian people to grasp their freedom to control their destiny. Today, the Ayatollah regime is not only attacking America, not only attacking Israel, not only attacking the Iranian people, it is attacking the entire Middle East and beyond. They've attacked civilians and American assets in Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, and they've even attacked through their proxies Cyprus and Europe. We've warned for decades that their ballistic missile program would be used to attack these targets far and wide, and if they're not stopped, that's just the beginning.
The Prime Minister also praised the speed of the current operations, attributing the success to a seamless partnership between the intelligence services and militaries of both the US and Israel.
So today, Israel and the United States are protecting America, Israel, the entire Middle East, but I venture to say the entire world. Despite the fake news that is unfortunately being spread since the start of the war 20 days ago, we are winning and Iran is being decimated. Iran's missile and drone arsenal is being massively degraded and will be destroyed. Hundreds of their launchers have been destroyed, their stockpiles of missiles are being hit hard, and so are the industries that produce them. That's important. In Rising Line, we destroyed missiles and we destroyed a lot of the nuclear infrastructure. But what we're destroying now are the factories that produce the components to make these missiles and to make the nuclear weapons that they're trying to produce. We're wiping out their industrial base in a way that we didn't do before. Iran's air defenses have been rendered useless. Their navy is lying at the bottom of the sea. Today we hit the other part of their navy, in the Caspian Sea. Their air force is nearly destroyed. Iran's command and control structure is in utter chaos. And I can tell you that there's still more work to do, and we're going to do it.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Sky's inaugural session of Saturday Night Live UK grows by 2 episodes, bringing the total run to 8 shows. The series premieres live from London this Saturday at 10 p.m. local time, featuring comedy veteran Tina Fey as host and musical guest Wet Leg.
Sports news on Gold FM.
Former cricketer Avishka Gunawardena was appointed the head coach of the Sri Lanka under-19 team. Meanwhile, former cricketer Ashan Priyanjana was named head coach of Sri Lanka A. On day 2 of the 92nd Battle of the Saints, St. Joseph's declared their first innings at a commanding 352 for 8, powered by Senaja Vekungode's 88 and Yenra Dantanarayan's 84. Meanwhile, the 121st quarrel Richmond College reached 257 for 7 at the lunch break on day 2, following a solid foundation laid yesterday. And that's all the news for now. Stay tuned to Gold FM for the latest updates. This is Avinindra Soma for Gold FM News.